Today on the show, I had the great pleasure to welcome Bernhard Grafe. Bernhard, you are the head of sales training at Helvetia, based in Basel.
It's nice to meet you today.
You have a strong experience in developing learning journey within sales of insurance. You have an academic background in business administration. You did an executive MBA in business engineering from HSG, which is St. Gallen University in Switzerland. Your favorite hobby is hiking and you ski in the Swiss mountains.
With the Matterhorn, it's really a great opportunity to ski in between Italian and Swiss mountains.
I love Zermatt. It's a fantastic place. Let's jump into the topic of today. How do you train your salespeople these days? What do you do now?
I think that the most important is it's a combination of different learning environments. We have still quite a bit of presence courses that is important in sales. People act and they work together and they talk together. They practice together in these lessons. But also we have quite a bit of webinars, which we invented a few years ago now. The goal of these webinars is to gather people and to really give them fixed dates when they have to do some e-learnings until these dates. We ensure with these webinars that we don't lose the people on the way when they're learning. The third is the e-learning environment. We were building up quite a bit of e-learning nuggets in the last few years. We want our learners to go through these e-learnings. What we see so far is that they profit very much. They really get out a lot of knowledge.
Okay, so they get knowledge from these e-learning modules, but are they engaged really in the learning itself?
Sure, we force them actually. We don't want them just to do this e-learning anytime. We care about what they learn out of these e-learnings. So after the e-learning programs, they always have to do e-tests so that they really have to show if they know what they learned in these e-learnings.
So you speak about e-learning. Is that an important part of it? Do you do mostly digital learning or do you do it more in the classrooms itself? What's your favorite blend of learning?
The digital training is getting more and more important to really bring up the knowledge of the learners. This must be done in self-education. It's not worth anymore to go through hundreds of PowerPoint slides and losing time in learning the basics. It's much more efficient also. You don't have to travel. You can learn on your own speed. You don't have to rent the seminar rooms. Still, blended learning, the combination of presence and the digital learning is very important for our audience, because they're not intrinsically motivated to learn. So they need this extrinsic motivation for learning, as I mentioned before, with e-tests, or they know exactly that next week there is a classroom training. And so I do have to do this digital learning or e-learning program and the e-test afterwards until next week when I go into the classroom training.
There you tell me that they basically need extrinsic motivation, not intrinsically motivated by that. Why this?
For our target audience, I think they have a lot of pressure in their everyday work and they have a lot of other things to do. So it's a special topic for corporate learning, especially because they just have to learn the basics, and that's not always funny. And they don't always see a return on investment or a return on investment time for learning the next day. As we are in sales, learning doesn't bring you money. It's really the business that brings you the money. So we have to force them that they take their time to do the learning.
So that's a bit of a challenge with corporate learning overall, the time that these learners have dedicated to learning. What was the impact of the pandemic on learning?
I think that was a great impact on the digital learning side. From one day to another, we had to do all our presence courses via Zoom, via Teams. We had to do them online. The pandemic gave a much bigger acceptance to the digital learning environments. Experiments also were allowed. You could say, hey, today we try out a new tool, we try out a new method, and everybody said, okay, cool, let's do it and try it out. This wouldn't have been possible without the pandemic. So these 80% solutions could be rolled out, could be tried out. That gave a really great boost for our digital learning environment.
So the main challenge actually was this boost to change the way to learn. So what are the main challenges in sales training you would see in Switzerland?
In Switzerland especially, it's the multi-language environment that we live in. We always have to find trainers that can teach in different languages. We have French, Italian, German. sometimes even English. There are not so many people that speak all languages at the same time. So we always have to reproduce the knowledge from trainer to trainer. More and more, it's the travel time. Nobody wants to travel, even though we are small in Switzerland and we do not travel so far. But already a half an hour travel, people are asking, do I really have to travel? Do I have to come to another part of Switzerland? That's the challenge that is getting bigger and bigger. Then it's also the speed. I think this is a real challenge. A lot of things, they have to be learned very fast. There are so many things coming up. And even after a few weeks, everybody's expecting that everybody in the company knows these new subjects and knows how to treat them. And then, as I said already, the variety of subjects. It's not that you have a 1 year goal or one goal per year. It's more that you have every second or a third month, some new subjects are coming up. And then you have to really to train people in a very fast way.
So you just spoke about the speed. Do you mean there's a lot of things to be learned in a very short time frame? Is that what you mean?
Yeah. I can make an example. Our base training for our salespeople about 3 years ago, it took 1.5 years until this was finished, this program. Now it's a little bit more than a year and you're through the whole program. So management is expecting a whole faster way of learning.
I think I saw some statistics. Correct me if I'm wrong, but usually salespeople stay in a company 2-3 years maximum in average. Is that really possible? And then I understand that training has to go fast.
Training has to go fast. If I compare Helvetia to these numbers that you just mentioned, we are happy. We have quite a bit of people that come, and when they see it doesn't fit, they don't like what they do, they leave again quite soon. But when they are with Helvetia and they decided, hey, it's a good place to work for me, they stay for a longer time. I think there is a much higher average in Helvetia sales people than what you just mentioned.
How long have you worked for Helvetia?
I've been working now for 5.5 years. Yeah. And I'm still enjoying it. So
Cool. You mentioned also something about languages. I love languages, and I think you speak quite a few languages too. For our viewers who are not familiar with Switzerland, I always find this fascinating. It's one country which has 4 main languages plus English very often that you can use. How do you do your training? Everybody comes to Basel, you speak Swiss, German, French, Italian, English.
yeah, that's one of our challenges. We try really to go with our trainers to our audience. Our trainers are also in the French part of Switzerland. So we train the people close to where they live, or at least where their language is spoken. We can't do all language at the same time. So we really bring the people together that speak the same language.
Then for online training, that's actually much easier because then you just translate the different modules and that's done.
Absolutely, yeah. Also, the one big advantage of the online modules is the scale effect that you can do with it. A classroom training that we do for our salespeople, we can't just bring the same classroom training to other people from Helvetia, but e-learning we produced over the last few months, we can bring to everybody in Helvetia. And as we translated it in 3 languages, everybody can use it without any costs.
That's a fantastic change in training, I think, too. If you had to change something, what would you change in your training?
What should be changed in the future to bring even more engagement from the side of the learners is that we should really more focus on the advantage that the digital modules bring to the learner. So to tell them it's not just about learning because you have to, but when we could bring them more profit from what they learn so that they really see, hey, wow, it's really good to learn this because I can use it tomorrow. I can use it next week and I really can profit from what I learned very fast.
How would you do that concretely?
What we did in our e-learnings, we integrated stories from real salespeople. You always start the e-learning module with a story. So you really can see what I do here, what I learn here. It's not just the theoretical thing. What we could do better in the future is really focus on the advantages for the learner. So show him really the profit that he gets out of what he learns. So that he would be able to see immediately, hey, what can I improve tomorrow in my work? What can I do better next week? This is something I would say we could work on. For the moment, we integrated sales stories in our e-learning modules. So that the learner is really in his everyday work. So he sees, okay, That's also an experience that I had already. And then he's in his world. And in his world, he learns the next theoretical thing or a next method he could use in the future. I think this is a starting point, but we still can improve there. And the other thing is what I learned from you also from Engage, the gamification. That's also important. We did not do this in the moment, also because of technical restrictions from our system. But I think this is still quite a bit of potential in the gamification aspects.
It's a great way to engage learners, as you well know. We love that, yes. In your mind, what would be the very best sales training? Let's say you have no limits. You come up and you say everything can happen. What do you do?
Besides the campus that we already have, I would invent a digital campus where the learners can meet each other, they can interact with each other. What I would dream of is to have the virtual clients that our real client advisors could interact with. So this interactive digital campus would be a real enhancement for the physical campus that we already have today. And I think this would bring much more practical experience to the learners.
Yeah, so they could practice as much as they want with digital clients in that virtual setting.
Absolutely.
I can see this. Yeah. So what steps do you actually take to prepare that future?
The first step we did together with you, Engage, we developed a vision for our virtual seamless learning environment. At least on the paper, we know how this virtual campus should work. Now, the only thing is how to bring it to life. The right approach is to implement it step by step. As we are not a teaching company, it's not our core business, but we still want to get better for our learners. So the next step for me is really to have these virtual client meetings so that perhaps with an artificial intelligence, we can bring up a virtual client and then our newbies, our new client advisors could really interact with this virtual client.
So now you have your view of the virtual client and the future. That means you have to change. You have to do some transformation there. And that's your job. So what's the highlight, I would say, and the lowlights of your job to bring about the change in an organization?
One of the highlights is that we have quite a great awareness of the need for the change in our company. There are still quite a lot of companies that are not aware that they really have to change. At Helvetia are aware of that we have to go into the future, that we have to change our way of doing business, but also our way of doing the learning. And I have quite a lot of motivated colleagues that accompany me, and we have good discussions. We are creating exciting solutions for the future. And what I love also is the fast developing technology. Almost every month there is something new that you can reuse and you can try out. And I'm really convinced that in the next few months or perhaps 2 to 3 years, we will have quite a bit of a change also in technology, that it's getting easier to use, a lot of new functionalities. So I'm looking forward to this development.
Now, you're looking forward to this development, but how fast is actually your industry? The insurance industry, is that a fast industry to change or not?
I think that the industry in insurance is still, it's based on trust. So the most important value for us is trust. And you can't build trust in a few days or even weeks. So it's important to have a brand that the clients trust. And I think that's also the reason why we can't move as fast as we want sometimes, because we have to be aware of this value. And when we change something, we have to be very important that it works properly, that the security is stable, that the functionalities are very well designed for our clients. So insurance is not the most changing.
When you're young and active and you want to change things, isn't that a bit frustrating sometimes?
No, perhaps also compared to other insurance companies, we have the courage to try out new things. And it just doesn't mean that you have to change everything, but perhaps one little bit you try out, and when it works well, then you go the next step. And I think we are in a good culture on this way into the future. We have to be aware that we are not able to change the whole business at one time, but it's the right way to go step by step.
Yes, so that you can provide good service to your clients. So what are the challenges in the insurance industry to evolve?
The challenge is probably still the same. It will always be the same. As long as you able to get as close to your client and to your client's needs, your company will have the right to be there. So I think this is one of the great challenges for the future, to not to lose the client. Although we have all this technology, we have all the data, and we have all the knowledge about clients. And I think there are like two ways to go there. On the one hand, it's the personal interaction with the clients as with our client advisors. And on the other hand, it's learning much more about the data that we have about our clients. So really reading the data and getting the information out of this data, and then use the information to produce new solutions and bring it to the client whenever the client needs insurance.
What is lacking to basically understanding more the data, understanding better the client?
It's just time. When I look around with all my colleagues, we are working on so many projects and so many subjects. I think we are working on the right things. But in the end, you need time to adopt. You need time to understand all these new features. The only thing that is lacking at the moment, it's time. It's my day and all the days of my colleagues. They should have 30 hours. So to do what everybody wants you to do or what you would like to do.
It seems that the lack of time is a disease of the 21st century. One of them, at least, eh?
Absolutely, yeah, you're right.
You worked with multi-channel strategy before. So can you tell us, how do you really develop a good multi-channel for example, an insurance company?
This is very easy. It's just to be there for the client whenever she or he needs insurance security. Not to say that it's easy to implement, but what we try at the moment with our multi-channel strategy is to have different channels online or via phone or via personal contacts or via active email strategies. And we really want to be there whenever the client needs us.
It sounds very obvious, I would even say. You need to be everywhere that your client wants to be. Okay, got it. Behind that simple statement, what does that actually really mean?
It's a totally new way of thinking and doing business, because you need people to understand that the client does not belong to one client advisor. That's the personal thing. And then on the other hand, you really need a tool or a technology that gives you the information about the client's history whenever he is contacting Helvetia. So that really when he calls our service center, the person at Helvetia Service Center has all the information what he discussed the week before with his client advisor.
But wait a second here, Bernhard. You say the client does not belong to one specific client advisor, but the client advisor is getting a share. He gets money because he brings in the clients. So isn't there something that could be of a challenge here to get the client advisor to accept that someone else can handle them?
No, I don't think so, because there are so many different subjects or different solutions that Helvetia can bring to their clients. So it's not possible anymore that the client advisor is the specialist for all the different subjects. So he gets paid for the lead that he gives to the right person, that he can advise the client then about the solution that the client needs. So this is the way it works in the moment, yeah.
So you just spoke about the multi-channel strategy. And when I look around, I look at fashion, I look at luxury, you have all these clients, you have even fans. Why doesn't the insurance industry seem to have fans? How many fans do you have?
I didn't count the fans on Instagram or all the other social media channels. Helvetia has about 1 million clients, so at least they are not detractors. Perhaps not all of them are fans, but they're actually happy with our product. But you're right. If I buy a car, it's much more emotional than buying insurance. And I think that one reason is that you can't touch our product. It's a service. You buy this service today, but you don't need it tomorrow, or you don't get any use from this product very fast. So
hopefully,
absolutely, that's it. And perhaps you just can sit at home and say, hey, I'm absolutely safe today. My financial security is perfect, but hopefully I never need this product.
That's a fascinating product. That's the only product you want to pay for and not use, basically.
Absolutely, yeah.
You do have fans. How do you really engage them? You have your Instagram, LinkedIn, or different social media. What about that engagement with fans? What do you do with them?
That's a good question, Phil. So I can answer how we do this in our sales training. After a good sales meeting with our client, we ask them if he is willing to give a recommendation for a colleague or someone else so that this colleague is also able to profit from the experience and from the advice from this client advisor. And not everybody is doing it, but those people that do it consequently, they have quite a bit of success with this recommendation.
So your client advisor gets some recommendations. Does the client who gave the recommendation get anything?
Yeah, we also have a recommendation program so that we give a small incentive if the recommend person gets a new client for Helvetia.
All right, so we're getting close to the end. So I just understood that with your MBA classmates, you had a trip to Asia, to Singapore. Did you learn anything over there?
I learned it's a massive market there, the Asian market. For our European mind or even small Switzerland mind, we always think Asia is so far away, but it's a massive market with a lot of people. The economic power is growing every month, every year. There are quite a lot of similarities to Switzerland. It's a very clean country, wealthy people, but also differences. For example, the Singapore government is like a management board. They're responsible for the strategy of the country and also the future development. And I found this was very strange as a Swiss person, because here in Switzerland, we are used that the innovation comes bottom up. So companies say, hey, we want to innovate. We don't want the government to say in which area we should innovate. So we want to bring innovation wherever is possible. And once the innovation and the projects are here, then we expect from the government that they create the environment that helps grow the innovations. And that's just a little bit another way around. Also, a big difference for me, or something I missed in Singapore, is the mountains. I could never live there. It's beautiful, it's sunny, it's hot, and they're very nice people, but I missed the mountains. Already after 1 week, I said, okay, let's go back to the mountains in Switzerland.
I can relate to that, although I love the food over there. That was a great pleasure having this chat with you. Thanks for sharing your insights about sales training, especially in the insurance industry, and look forward to our next discussion soon.
Thank you. Also, thank you for the good questions, and it was very great talking to you, Phil.
Thanks. Cheers. Ciao.